Yeah, I totally get what you mean. There's a huge difference between liking a housewife as a reality TV character and liking them as a person. Some of the absolute worst people make the best housewives because they bring the drama, the chaos, and the entertainment factor. But then there are some who cross a line where it's just not fun to watch anymore. Erika is a perfect example. Early on, she was a fascinating character, but when everything came out about Tom, her complete lack of empathy was really hard to stomach. Rinna too, she was messy in a fun way at first, but then she got so cruel and desperate for storylines that it became unbearable. I think there's also a difference between being shady/messy for the show, which is expected, versus being truly vile in a way that feels beyond the realm of reality TV villain. Like, someone being a pot stirrer or even a backstabber for drama is one thing, but some housewives just expose who they really are, and it's not a good look. I get why people would put Kyle, Erika, and Rinna in the unredeemable category, though I personally think Kyle is more just calculated than outright evil. But the way she handled the LVP situation was definitely gross. Are there any housewives across the franchises you consider irredeemable? Theresa and Louis are definitely up there for a lot of people. That was such a powerful and emotional moment. Sutton can be frustrating at times, but seeing her open up about her mother really put a lot of her behavior into perspective. Reba's coldness explains so much about why Sutton reacts the way she does. She never got the validation or warmth she needed growing up, so now she overcompensates or struggles in social situations. You're spot on about the cycle of narcissistic relationships. It's heartbreaking to think she married into the same dynamic she was raised in, but the fact that she's recognizing it and doing the work in therapy shows real growth. I hope she continues to heal and find peace. And you're right, her mother benefits from the lifestyle Sutton provides, yet she still seems distant and unappreciative. That must be incredibly painful. This episode really highlighted why Sutton can be both difficult and deeply vulnerable at the same time. I hope she finds a way to break the cycle for good. Sounds like you're really invested in Boz and want the best for her. It's wild how often smart, accomplished women end up with men who are clearly not on their level. Keeley sounds like he's just along for the ride, like he enjoys the perks of being with her, but has no real intention of building something serious. That pass on my genetics comment? Yikes, it's giving midlife crisis mixed with delusion. And you're spot on, if he was actually serious about her, he'd have made a real move by now. Instead, he's just stringing her along while she's clearly emotionally invested. Boz deserves better, and I hope she sees through him before it's too late. Also, that last line about the unbuttoned shirt had me dying. He really does sound like the type to treat every dinner like a networking event. Sounds like there's a lot of frustration toward PK and his actions. It's wild how many red flags are coming out now, and Dorit finally being open about their situation makes everything click. He really seems like someone who prioritizes himself over his responsibilities, which is just sad when kids are involved. That whole codependency excuse is such a cop-out too. Marriage and parenting require interdependence. Abandoning your family isn't growth, it's selfishness. And the fact that he's talking badly about Dorit to Kyle. Wow, he's definitely trying to rewrite the narrative in his favor. Karma's got some work to do on this one. It sounds like Dorit has been carrying a lot on her own for a long time, and the reality of PK's absence is finally hitting home in a way she can't ignore anymore. It's heartbreaking because, like you said, she's been shielding the kids from the truth, likely out of love and protection, but at some point, reality catches up. It's true that a man who abandoned his first set of kids is a huge red flag. History often repeats itself in these cases. She probably believes she was different, that he had changed, or that he had a valid reason for being absent from his first children's lives. But now she's living the exact scenario she likely once judged. And yes, her spending might have been a coping mechanism. Some people drink, some take pills, some overexercise, and some shop to numb the pain. It doesn't excuse financial recklessness, but it makes sense as a reaction to loneliness, betrayal, and feeling unappreciated. I do think one day her kids will recognize just how much she did to keep up the illusion of their dad being involved. It's sad, but at least they'll know they had one parent who was always there for them. Yeah, I definitely think Dorit inviting Kathy could be seen as a subtle dig at Kyle, whether intentional or not. Kyle is super sensitive about loyalty, and after last season's drama, she probably doesn't love seeing Dorit cozying up to Kathy, especially in more private settings rather than big group events. I also agree that Kathy is being careful about what she says. She knows how easily things can be twisted, and she probably doesn't want to add fuel to the fire. But at the same time, Kathy loves a good gossip session, so I wouldn't be shocked if she's stirring the pot just enough to keep things interesting without fully committing to any side. And yeah, Boz going in on Kyle in front of Kathy was wild. That definitely got back to Kyle, and I highly doubt Kathy relayed it in a way that would do Boz any favors. Kathy has that, "Oh, I don't remember" act, but she absolutely knows what she's doing. I think Dorit should be careful. Kathy will always choose Kyle if push comes to shove, and if Kyle ever feels betrayed, Dorit could end up on her bad side. Not to mention, with producers setting up a lot of these meetups, there's always the chance that things are being orchestrated to create drama rather than being genuine friendships. We'll see how it plays out. Yeah, it was honestly infuriating how dismissive they were of Taylor. Like, why would someone make up being abused? And the whole "he seems nice to me" excuse is so ignorant. It's like they don't understand how abusers operate. Of course, he's not going to show that side to them. LVP and Kyle's reactions were definitely rooted in internalized misogyny. LVP especially, she loves to act like she's above it all, but her whole "men love me, so they wouldn't treat me badly" attitude is so flawed. Kyle, on the other hand, is just not very emotionally intelligent. She was more concerned with how Taylor's situation made her feel rather than actually supporting her friend. And I get that Taylor kept trying to make things work with Russell, which could be confusing for the women around her, but that's literally how DV works. Victims don't just leave easily. It's psychological, financial, emotional. And Kyle having Faye around should have made her more understanding, but instead, she just kept putting the blame on Taylor. It's wild to look back and realize that even in 2011, there was such a lack of awareness about domestic violence. And honestly, I don't think reality TV, or society in general, has come that far in supporting victims.